Hello and welcome to the Technical Day Trader. Today we are taking a look at the FAS for day trade possibilities. This morning it was a little bit interesting. It gapped up a little bit and it basically seemed like it was going to bounce around in resistance 1 and resistance 2 of the pivot points today. And early in the morning, obviously I did not trade until 10:30, or I was not looking for patterns until 10:30. But nonetheless, I do pay attention to the market and see what sentiment is going on, what kind of moves. I mean, I'll draw out little ascending triangles and just see if they formulate. But the biggest thing that I picked up from this morning was resistance 1 had a big support bounce. So what I'm doing, and it's kind of hard because I'm going to say resistance 1 on person's pivots, pivot points throughout this little tutorial, throughout this video blog. But today, when I say R1, I mean it's a support line because it had this little V-shaped bounce support this morning. I also throughout the day was looking at Bank of America, Citi, PNC, all the some of the big banking stocks. All of them are having a strong day. Very heavy volume on the buying side, and so basically I was just once I was ready to trade, I had seen that it had almost come in contact with resistance 2, and then had a little bit of a sell-off. I mean, and basically I wanted to get in bullish, but I was waiting for a pattern to form to allow me to define my risk, or at least be able to define my stop loss, where I'm comfortable getting in and saying, listen, if it goes beyond this point, I was wrong. But for the time being, I think this trade can be profitable to the upside. So what happened was, I started looking for patterns around this side. I didn't want to get involved, and I was looking for an entry at R1 again. And throughout the day, the traders may have connected this little head right here with shoulder. You get a little neckline, and you get a quick sell-off, which allowed me to it got close to R1, but I really started looking for positions. So let's do a quick zoom in here. Okay, so at this first sell-off point, it didn't reach R1. It traded up a little bit, and then it sold off again. Now, what I'm initially thinking when I first see this, and this just comes from experience, is if this support can hold, it may end up looking like a head and shoulders. The reason being is we have a formation of a shoulder here, and the velocity of this little downside move here, I would not, put it past anybody to try to sell. The short sellers should try to sell it through that resistance. And I said to myself, well, we got one shoulder here. It's selling off. Short sellers are coming in strong, trying to break the will of the bulls today at R1, which was our support line. They did, and I said, okay, well, we'll let them break that line because that is not what I'm looking for an entry. What I'm thinking is if R1 is going to be the support that I need to get into a bullish position, even if they break through here, it'll be bought back up. And what does that make? That makes one large shoulder, and that makes what could appear to be a head. Now, it hadn't formulated yet, but this just comes from experience playing around and seeing stuff break through resistance and then or break through support and then bounce back up to it. So at that point, when it came back up through R1, I put an order in at 160.08, which is at R1, because I was hoping for a sell-off to test the fact that this would be coming back through, would be resistance. I want to make sure it changes to support. So I put my order in right there at 160.08, and what I did was I used the little head as it was going to be my stop loss target. So I put my stop loss right above or right below the top of that head. It was at 159.70. So that's a 30-cent risk I have for the potential upside. I believe that could, head towards R2, because that's the strength in some of the underlying financial stocks I was watching all day. Seemed like they were trying to get to R2. So what I did, I got in my position, and what actually happened was a little formation formed right here, and it was almost like a small shoulder. The head that is a part of what I could perceive as my larger inverse head and shoulders. I'm sorry, I say head and shoulders, but I mean inverse head and shoulders. That one has bullish implications if the neckline's broken, and it kind of it reacted as if traders saw that as a small inverse head and shoulders. You have this big buying price bar here, so right there I'm feeling confident in my position entry. And basically what I did was I connected that neckline, extended it out, and then it uses it as support. So once it broke through there, it came back down. A little bit of a battle here, but it ends up being used as a support line. So at that point, I'm looking at the larger picture here, and I'm saying, hey, if they can buy this up a little bit, which they did, this is starting to look like a big inverse head and shoulders. So what I did was, and this was the trend line I used during the day. I make them wider when I'm teaching just for the ease. I connected that the trough of that shoulder 1, connected it to the trough of shoulder 2, and extended that neckline out. And now I'm able to put a price target in there. Now, usually I don't get involved in positions where I can't get some semblance of an idea of a price target, because that's how I build my risk profile. Now today, because I did my due diligence within the market, and this comes from experience, looking at the underlying stocks, seeing where the market's heading, I felt comfortable getting in it. I don't usually do that, but it does happen. I'm not going to give up a good trade just because I can't get a price target on it. And what I did was, once this larger head and shoulders formed, I took a little trend line from the top of the head and extended it out towards that neckline, and then just duplicated that line. Now I had done it previously, and here's the line right here. And what I can do is take that for a rudimentary price target and extend it right from the point of the breakout, and duplicate it. I'll extend this guy out, and boom, I have a price target. So I put a sell order in at 161.53, and as you can see, once that, short sellers did not want this larger inverse head and shoulders to be broken, for the neckline to be broken, because it's going to go against them, and you can see that they tried to short sell it, but no, buyers took it up. I was able to get a price target on it, and that's where I sold. It was at 161.53. And this doesn't happen all the time. I don't usually get in positions like this, but again, as a professional trader, I'm looking around the market. I'm using other technical indicators to try to discern direction, and I was comfortable because I was at least able to define my risk, which was 30 cents, and I was willing to take that risk in the light of a potentially a very profitable trade in this case. All right, so that's it. Thanks a lot for being here today, and we'll have more for you tomorrow. See you later.